everyone, welcome back to GK Today. I am Munger and in this video we'll cover the current affairs. Before we move ahead, let me inform you that these questions are part of our daily 20 MCQ series 2022 in the GK Today's Android application. So if you are looking for the text version of these questions and their explanations along with the interactive quiz, you may consider joining our daily 20 MCQ series in the GK Today Android application. In this course in app, you get daily 20 MCQs, a fortnightly quiz, a monthly revision document, and also category-wise revision e-books that are optimized for reading on mobile. You are also able to access all archives of questions from January 2020 onwards. And let me tell you one more thing. If you want the Hindi version of this session, you can refer to our former channel named as GK Today. The link has been given in the description box from where you can reach to. So without taking much of your time, let's get started. Good morning everyone. Welcome back to GK Today. And today we'll be discussing most important MCQs for 16th of February 2022. Starting with very first question, which institution launched agroecology based program named as JIVA? So this has been launched by NABARD, and NABARD stands for the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Okay, so it aims to promote the natural farming under NABARD's watershed and Wadi programs in 11 states that cover 5 agroecological zones. Okay, so it aims to nudge the farming community basically towards the natural farming. Fine. Now earlier we have seen that Kazu Valley wetlands that is situated in Villupuram district of Tamil Nadu has been declared as the 16th bird sanctuary, and the Kazu Valley wetland is referred to as the second largest brackish water lake in South India. Okay, first brackish water lake in South India is Pulicat Lake. Who is the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu? M.K. Stalin, and Governor is R.N. Ravi. Okay, now we celebrate World Wetland Day on 2nd of February, and 2022 marks the 51 years of Convention of Wetlands, and the theme for this year was Wetlands Action for People and Nature. Okay, and aim is to raise awareness about the crucial role played by the wetlands for people and our planet as well. Okay, now earlier we have also seen that the Odisha Wildlife Organization has recently conducted a bird census in the Chilka Lake, and Chilka Lake is the largest brackish water lake. Okay, here we were talking about only South India, and this is for whole India. Okay, now which is the largest bird sanctuary in whole Asia? It is Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, which is now called as Keoladio National Park. Now apart from all these things, Government of India is to promote the use of drones in agriculture, and for this the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare has announced the SMAM guidelines. What is this? Submission on Agricultural Mechanization Guidelines. Okay, so in this, farmer producer organization will receive the grants up to 75% of the drone cost for demonstration purpose, and 6,000 rupees per hectare is to be provided to the agencies that hire the drones for demonstration. Okay, so these drones are to be used to apply the pesticide for crop protection, and also it shall be used for spraying the crop nutrients and the soil nutrients. Okay, now question number 2, which body regulates the stock exchanges in India? Extremely easy question. The Securities and Exchanges Board of India, that is SEBI, is a regulatory authority established under the SEBI Act of 1992, and it is the principal regulator for stock exchanges in India. So what happened is, why it is in news? Because recently SEBI has penalized the National Stock Exchange, its former CEOs Chitra Ramakrishna and Ravi Narayan for governance lapses in hiring of its chief operating officers Anand Subramaniam. Okay, now few days back we have seen that SEBI has recently restructured its advisory committee on Investor Protection and Education Fund under the chairmanship of G. Mahalingam, and this committee was established by SEBI to find out the ways and means to best utilize the Investor Protection and Education Fund, and earlier it was headed by Abraham Koshia, who is the former professor of IIM Ahmedabad. Okay, so this committee is mandated to recommend the investor education and protection activities or accounts for the utilization of SEBI IPEF. Okay. Now do remember that for the very first time, SEBI has declared a government-owned company called as PEC Limited as not fit and proper. So PEC Limited is a 100% government-owned company that has carried out illegal trades on NSEL's spot exchange platform in between 2010 and 2013. Okay. So do remember that PEC Limited is a government-owned company that has been declared as not fit and proper by SEBI recently. Now SEBI was also in news because recently it has launched the Sarthi mobile application, which will provide information about the security markets. So it will explain all about mutual fund, its working, trading and settlement, KYC process development in the market, etc. Okay. And also this application includes the grievance redressal mechanism. So this was done as the number of individual investors entering the market are increasing. So basic aim is to help these individuals in the market terms. Okay. So these new investors are using smartphones to do the trading, and that's why they are being assisted through this mobile application. Okay. Question number 3. Xinjiang region, which was seen in the news, is located in which country? So recently the International Labour Organization has condemned the China for racial and religious discrimination in the Xinjiang region. And the report said that as an ILO member state, the Chinese government is firmly committed to provide decent work for all China's ethnic minority groups, including the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Okay, so this is a reason in China. Now apart from it, the number of killings as a part of witch hunting is the second highest in Odisha after the state Jharkhand, according to the National Crime Records Bureau. So the Odisha State Commission for Women has recently sought stringent provisions in the Odisha Prevention of Witch Hunting Act of 2013, and also it demanded that branding of victims be treated as heinous crime and punishable in the state. Okay. So if you are asked that which Indian state has the highest number of killings as a part of witch hunting as per NCRB, answer is Jharkhand. Now talking about Odisha, the Chief Minister of Odisha, Mr. Naveen Patnaik, has recently inaugurated the state's longest bridge named as T Setu, which has been built over the Mahanadi River in the Cuttack district. So this bridge is in the shape of English alphabet T, and it was constructed at a cost of 111 crore rupees. Okay. Now which is the longest bridge in India? It is Bhupen Hazarika Setu, also known as Dhola Sadia, and the length is 9,150 meters. And it has been constructed over Lohit River in the state of Assam. Okay. Now which is the longest road bridge in India? It is Bogibeel Bridge. Also, longest railway bridge in India is again Bogibeel. After it, the second largest bridge in India is Dibang River Bridge, and which is the first sea bridge in India? It is Pamban Bridge that connects Rameshwaram Island to the mainland. Okay. Now which is the busiest bridge? It is Howrah Bridge, also known as Rabindra Setu, and it connects Kolkata and Howrah. Fine. So these are some of the important bridges you have to remember. Question number 4. Srikrishna Setu Munger Ganga Bridge is located in which particular state? So Chief Minister of Bihar, Mr. Nitish Kumar, and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has inaugurated the Munger Ganga Bridge. Okay, and it is named after the state's first Chief Minister, Srikrishna. So it is the third rail-cum-road bridge across the Gangas at the Munger in the Indian state of Bihar. Okay. So there was a bridge question today. That's why I have told a lot about the bridges in the previous question. Okay. Now recently we have seen that the Chinese and French oil giants have signed an agreement to build a huge oil pipeline in the Lake Albert of Uganda. And the companies are investing nearly $10 billion in this mega project. And after completion, this pipeline will become the longest pipeline in the world, and it will pass through Tanzania. So according to Indian Monetary Fund, oil reserves in the country are the fourth largest in the sub-Sahara region, and the first three are Nigeria, Angola and South Sudan. So companies are to exploit the oil reserves of the country, and this has fumed the environmentalist. Okay. Now what is Sea Dragon 22? This exercise was recently held in the month of January, and it is a multinational exercise. And the countries that participated in it are India, Australia, Canada, USA, South Korea and Japan. Okay. Now apart from it, as per the Chinese government data, India's bilateral trade with China has increased to 43.3% in 2021, despite India's measures to decrease the dependence on imports from China and increased emphasis on the self-reliance. Okay. So India's imports from China has increased to $97.5 billion in the year 2021, and in the year 2020, import was $66.67 billion, which increased by 46.1% in the year 2021. Okay. Question number 5. India signed Memorandum of Understanding on Tourism Cooperation with which country? So recently, India and Australia have signed MOU on tourism cooperation in New Delhi. So this MOU in the field of tourism will enhance cooperation and encourage the expansion of bilateral relations in the tourism sector. Also, it will facilitate the exchange of information and data related to the tourism and cooperation between the tourism stakeholders. Okay. So talking about Australia, recently Australia has launched a new plan to protect the climate-ravaged Great Barrier Reef, which is the world's largest coral reef, and for this the government has launched a $700 million package for protecting the Great Barrier Reef in a hope of preventing the vast network of corals from being removed from the World Heritage List of UNESCO's. Now what is Reef 2050 plan? Actually, United Nations had earlier threatened to downgrade the World Heritage listing of reef in the year 2015, and that's why Australia had created a Reef 2050 plan and invested billions of dollars into its protection. Okay. Now also Australia was in news because the Online Safety Act has recently come into effect there, which was passed in the month of July 2021. So now the act allows the adults to report the cases of online bullying in Australia to the E-Safety Commissioner. So now with this act, the E-Safety Commissioner is empowered to order the social media websites to take down the content related to the bullying against Australian adults. And the content shall be removed within 24 hours, and in case they fail to do so, they will face fines up to $555,000. Okay. Question number 6. Which country recently passed a legislation that ends the forced arbitration in sexual assault and harassment disputes at workplaces? So the US Congress has passed a legislation that ends the forced arbitration in sexual assault and harassment disputes at the workplaces. And after getting signed by the President Joe Biden, the bill will allow the survivors to sue their abusers in a public court even if they have signed employment agreements that require them to settle the disputes internally through an arbitrator. Okay. Now in the previous lecture we have seen that USA has recently announced $5 billion to be made available under the Navy Formula Program. What is Navy? National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. And aim is to build a national electric vehicle charging network, and the money will be used to build thousands of electric vehicle charging stations there. Okay. Now apart from all these things, Philippines has recently deferred ratification of Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and this decision has been taken after farmers and other civil society groups in the country expressed strong apprehensions against the mega trade deal that was signed. So India has decided to stray out of RCEP as per the current situation. Okay. Also in the previous lecture we have seen that French President Emmanuel Macron hosted the high-level session of One Ocean Summit in the city of Brest. So nearly 27 European Union states and 16 others agreed to pursue a global agreement by the end of year to regulate the sustainable use of oceans all across the globe. And many countries joined the High Ambition Coalition for Nature and People and the High Ambition Coalition on Biodiversity Beyond Natural Jurisdiction. Okay. Do remember that India also supports it. Okay. Question number 7. Which country has recorded the most deforestation ever in the Amazon rainforest in January 2022? So Brazil recorded the most deforestation ever in the Amazon rainforest for the month of January according to the new government data. And deforestation in Brazil's Amazon totaled 430 square kilometers last month, which is 5 times higher than January 2021. So this is according to the satellite data from Government Space Research Agency. Okay. Now apart from it, Economic Intelligence Unit has recently released the Democratic Index report for the year 2021. In this, Norway was at the top, second was New Zealand, third was Finland, fourth was Sweden, and the fifth was Iceland. Do remember that India was ranked at 46th in this ranking. Also do remember that India scored highest in the Salesforce Global Digital Skill Index. And it is actually calculated based on the readiness of citizens in learning the new digital skills and employee sentiments. Okay. Now a few days back we have seen that Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has recently released the State of Forest Report 2021. And the report says that there has been a continuous growth of forest cover in India, in which Telangana has shown the highest increase in the forest cover of all the states, and it was then followed by Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. The states that were in loss were Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram and Meghalaya. Okay, basically you can say northeastern states. And the state with highest forest cover is Madhya Pradesh, and it is further followed by Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and the Maharashtra. Okay. Question number 8. SMILE is a central sector scheme launched by which union ministry? So the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has launched the central sector scheme named as SMILE, and SMILE stands for Support for Marginalized Individuals for Livelihood and Enterprise. So this umbrella scheme is designed to provide the welfare measures to the transgender community and the people engaged in the act of begging. So the ministry has allocated 365 crore rupees for the scheme from 2021-22 up to 2025-26. Okay. Now apart from it, the Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India Limited is a government printing and minting agency which functions under the Ministry of Finance. So Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has recently launched the first color souvenir coin on Panchtantra on the occasion of 17th Foundation Day of Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India Limited. Okay. Now apart from it, Digital Sky is a single window platform through which a DGCA approved drone school provides remote pilot certificate. So recently what happened is the Civil Aviation Ministry scrapped the requirement of drone pilot license for operating the drones in the country. So RPC is sufficient to operate the drones in India now. Okay. Question number 9. Which space agency has released the first visible light images of the surface of Venus from space? So NASA's Parker Solar Probe has captured its first visible light images of the surface of Venus from space, and Parker used its wide field imager to image the entire night side in the wavelength of the visible spectrum and extending into the near infrared. So Venus surface is usually hidden from sight as it is covered in thick clouds. Okay. Now what is NROL-87 mission? It has recently been launched by the SpaceX, and under it the company has launched a spy satellite for the US military, which was carried out by Falcon rocket. So this is the second of the 3 planned launches under this mission. Okay. So only thing you have to remember is that this particular mission belonged to SpaceX. Now recently NASA has announced that International Space Station will cease operations in the year 2031. So now in the year 2031, the spacecraft will fall out of the orbit and it will go down into the waters of South Pacific Ocean. So now the operations of ISS will eventually be transitioned into commercial low Earth orbit destinations. Okay. Also, NASA funded Atlas system has become the first survey that is capable of searching the entire dark sky for the near Earth orbits. Okay, you have to tell me what does Atlas stands for. So this is actually an asteroid detection system. So it has become an important asset for NASA's continuous effort for finding, tracking and monitoring the near Earth orbits. Okay. Now coming to last question, when is World Radio Day observed every year? So every year World Radio Day is celebrated on 13th of February with an aim to highlight the importance of radio. So the member states of UNESCO first declared this day in the year 2011 and later it was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012 as an international day. Okay. Now Indian National Women's Day is observed every year on 13th of February to commemorate the birth anniversary of Sarojini Naidu. So she was also called as Nightingale of India or Bharat Kokila. So Sarojini Naidu was the first woman governor of the state Uttar Pradesh, and also she was the first woman ever to be elected as the president of Indian National Congress. Okay. Now International Day of Women and Girls in Science is observed every year on 11th of February, and the United Nations calls for women's full and equal access and participation in science. So this day also celebrates those that are leading action and innovation around the world, and as per the UN Women, only 33% of researchers are women and they are awarded less research funding than men and are less likely to be promoted as well. Okay, you have to tell me what was the theme for this year. Also don't forget to tell me when do we observe International Women's Day. Okay, now apart from all these things, National Voters Day is celebrated every year on 25th of January to encourage the country's voters to participate in the electoral process. And the theme for this year was making elections inclusive, accessible and participative. Okay. Now let's start with today's quiz. Here on the slide you can see 5 questions which have been taken from the past 2-3 days current affairs. Pause the video and try to solve each of these questions. And at the end of the lecture, do not forget to share your scores in the comment section. So please be honest and do not cheat with yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. These were the important news and events from today, and we will meet again tomorrow with some more important current affairs. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzad Sana signing off.